Hi guys, this is Cindy with Pups and Crochet, and I am sorry that I'm a little late. I'm always late. My mom always told me I'd be late for my own funeral. I said, yeah, probably. Oh my God, I have so much to tell you. And I have to catch you up on everything because, yes, I'm behind again. Oh my goodness. Well, we got to babysit Tink today. Well, actually walk her because, she has to stay in her cage until they get home. So they asked us if we would walk her for them because, they had a family issue that they had to deal with. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And I have not had a big dog in a really long time. I mean, my Chara used to be 300 pounds, almost 300. And then Hooch was 100 pounds. So, I'm sorry, Chara was 200 pounds and Hooch was 100 pounds. And when I walked them, I had 300 pounds of dog that I was walking. But I started them when they were little, teaching them. They were both rescues, Chara was a half black shepherd and a half black lab, and the father was imported from Germany, was the biggest black shepherd I have ever seen in my life. And this little lab, she was so tiny, she had to be like the little runt of the litter. And all of a sudden her stomach's dragging the ground. And the first puppy that came out, they're like, she only goes with us when we go out. She's never with another dog. How did she get pregnant? And she had 11 puppies. The 12th one that was on the bottom passed away, but she got 12 or 11 out of the 12. And so he's like, holy cow. Well, as soon as the first one came out, over that 6-foot fence jumped the black shepherd. And they said, well, I guess we know who the daddy is. And they were amazing, and I got one of the puppies. And all of them came out black, except for 2 girls that had the brown on their right here, just on their 2 front paws of the shepherd. So I was so amazed with her. But with a big dog, if you don't start them when they're little, they're going to jerk you all over the place. And then Hooch I got, he was a rescue that came in. We were helping some of our friends that had a pet grooming and a pet babysitting spot. So we would go in and help them with the cages and stuff. But I heard them talking, and then I turned the corner and they said, don't tell Cindy. And I'm like, what? And okay, so Hooch came in, and he had got kicked out of his apartment complex because he bit through the toilet pipe, and when they got home, he was floating around in the bathroom because he flooded it and flooded the apartment down below, and it was going into the next apartment. So they said either you get rid of him or you lose your place. So she brought him into us. Well, yeah, I took him home. So Char always came with us when we went there, and she'd walk around and help, to stay by me. And, she'd beat Hooch up and let him know that she is the alpha and he is the beta. So after their passing, I didn't have a dog for a while, and then all of a sudden Munchkin needed a rescue, and then Peanut needed a rescue. So I got Char and Hooch back in mini sizes because Hooch was the yellow lab and the same color as Peanut, and Monkey was brown and black until she got older. Then she started getting gray, but just like Chara. So I said I got my Chara and Hooch back in mini sizes so I can take them everywhere with me and carry them around. Anyway, so we go over and we let she was the baby Rottweiler that Peanut fell in love with, but she's grown up now. So, you know, she gives him one big lick across the face, and then he just starts going, ah. So we go over, we get her, and the minute she sees me, and I let her out of the cage, and we're going to put her on her leash, as soon as she sees me, she rolls over, and I'm like, give me that belly. And I'm like, give me that belly. Because, you know, Monkey was so tiny, you had to rub her belly like this. And Peanut, he'd roll over, and I'll rub his belly. But you got two-handed belly rub. Ah! So, you know, I got my boot on. So she was just jerking Robert. And I'm like, here, let me take her. You go stop Peanut from crying, because he heard us through the door and he started crying. And I'm like, it'd be easier to leave him inside. We'll walk him next and I'll take her. And I said, just go, you know, take him. And she walked so nicely with me. She didn't jerk me. And then out of nowhere, I look up and there's Puppy standing there. And I'm like, where's your mommy? This was the most beautiful dog. He was brown and white. I think it was a he. I didn't get a chance to chow. But brown and white, had one blue eye, one brown eye. And was like kind of like a lassie dog, but mixed with something else. It had a collar on, so I think he got out. Because he just showed up. I put my hand down, he smelled my hand, and I petted him a little bit, and then he's going like this at Tink, wanting to play. And Robert's like, that could be dangerous. I'm like, if it was dangerous, she would have ran and attacked. I said, she just wants to play. He wants to play. But finally, he wandered off somehow. I said, you need to go home to your mommy, and he just wandered off. So I'm hoping that they got him in. Because I was busy with Tink, I didn't have time to go chase him. But anyway, so that was my adventure today. And so I am catching up. Oh, and congratulations on our semi-finalist, Cecilia. Go Cecilia, go Cecilia, go Cecilia. I was so excited. I'm like, yes, they wrote back right away, and I didn't have to redraw. So she is in the running on Gale Southern Living for the Fall Fest 23. Yeah. We got our winner. All right, and now I am going to do a movie to catch up on my 100 Days of Christmas for Neva at Manic Mama Musing. I will put her link into the description box so you can check her out. There is a whole bunch of us that are helping her out to celebrate her Podiversary, and it is 100 days to Halloween, which ends up on her Podiversary. So it's like, yeah. So we're gonna celebrate. So I am on number 41. I do have some I have to catch up on because I'm a little bit behind. So, I've been watching so many horror movies. It's like, okay, I needed to change for a little bit. So, my 41, I did Final Destination, which is not a total horror movie, but to them it was. And to some people, it would freak them out. So, you know, that's what it was. So, here's my square. Okay. And then I did a little seatbelt. It's a little plain seatbelt. Okay, so if you have not seen Final Destination, I am going to give you the rundown of it. I like them. There's a few of them. But I still think the first one was the best. The other ones are still good. But, I don't know. So, they're on a plane. They're all going to Paris. It's part of their thing for French class. So they get to go to Paris. And it's a thing for a month. And they get to go there and they get to learn everything that they've learned in French. They get to go over there and see everything. There's 2 teachers there that are the supervisors of the group. So they all get on the plane, and then all of a sudden he's sitting by the window, and then the air's not, he turns the air won't work. He goes to open the tray, and the handle comes off, and then 2 girls come over and say, do you mind switching seats with us so that we can sit together? And he goes, okay, and his friend's like, no, because he wanted to sit next to the one girl that he really had a crush on. So he was checked off. And then all of a sudden, he wakes up, he starts screaming. He's like, I gotta get off this plane. Let me off this plane. Let me off this plane. And they're all like, what is wrong with you? He goes, something's wrong with this plane. I gotta get off. Let me out. So the stewardess starts telling him to sit down. Then the jockey guys that are in there, they want to get up and start fighting with him. So they end up throwing like 6 or 7 of them off the plane. And the one kid got caught in the middle. He was just coming back from the bathroom, and he's like, what did I do? But they kicked him off too. So there was a lady French teacher and a man French teacher, and she tells him, you go ahead, we're going to catch the next plane because they were being so bad. I'll stay with them, you go with them, get them, and go. And the kids, and they're looking at the kid, and the kid's like, look, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with the plane. You need to get them off the plane. And they're just like complaining. The jockey guy and his girlfriend, they're all just like, stop fighting, stop, his girlfriend screaming, stop fighting him, and then all of a sudden, poof, the windows blew out because the plane that they were supposed to be on blew up in midair. Okay, now they're all sitting there going, okay, why did he know? Okay, so they have them all in like airplane jail, waiting for their parents to come pick them up. Everybody else had to be let know that they didn't make it, but these guys did, and the one woman teacher, and she was having such a hard time because she told the male teacher, go ahead and go, and she stayed off the plane. So, if you've ever seen Candyman, he plays the mortician. He's the one that gets the bodies ready and everything. And so, as it goes along, they're like, he gets picked up by the FBI. The FBI grabs him and says, we want to know, how'd you know that plane was going to blow up? He goes, look, I seen it in my head, and I felt something wrong. Something was wrong with that plane. And he goes, but I saved 7 people. That was with the teacher, I think. 6 kids and 1 teacher. He goes, but I saved them. And you're going to sit here and ask me how I knew? I don't know how I knew. I don't know. So they let him go. They're like, look, he's a kid, it was whatever. Well, one by one, they start going. So his best friend that had got off with him ended up dying. He is, because it finds a way. And it's following along the pattern it was supposed to be. So he's at the house. The FBI guys see him. They're just like, why are you here? And he goes, I just had to see him. And I had to talk to him. He's my friend. Well, he died. Anyway, so it goes on and on and on. And then the teacher's like, I'm leaving. She's packing up her house. She can't stay at that school because everything freaks her out now because she lived, he didn't. She doesn't want to teach there anymore. And they're going on and on and on. And the kids are going on, and the jock kid goes, you don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. You didn't save me. I got kicked off the plane. And he goes, I never said that. And they're going back and forth. And this is what they do. Okay, and the one girl, Allie, Allie, I forgot what her last name is, but she's in there. But instead of having blonde hair, she's got brown hair, which kind of is different a look for her, because usually she has blonde hair. Anyway, so she is like the one that's real quiet, doesn't hang around with anybody. She does art, sculpting with welding and all that stuff. And she gave him a rose at the schools. They put a big panel up with all the kids' name and the teacher's name on there that they lost, and it was like a memorial for them. And so they went to put a rose up by the memorial, and she gave him one, and she just looked and told him, thank you, and walked away. And as she gave it to him, they snapped a picture, so he was in the paper, he was everything, right? So as it's going on, they just, he ends up, he wants to go see his friend. So she says, well, let's go. So they sneak into the funeral place. They go in there, and the guy's getting ready to prep him for his funeral. And he, it's the Candyman. And he is naturally spooky no matter what part he plays. And he's telling him, he goes, you know what? Death has a reason. Death has a plan. And it follows the plan no matter what you do. You think you made it, but you didn't. Death always finds its way. And the kids are all freaked out now. They're leaving. They run out of there. Well, as it goes on and more things start happening, this one, and then they're in the car, and they get stuck in the car. All of them are in the car because they were trying to figure out what's going on. The jock guy lost his girlfriend because she stepped out on the street, and out of nowhere a bus hit her, killed her. The teacher burned up in her house, and she went to reach up to grab a towel to wrap up her burn, and when she did, she had thrown the towel over the knife rack. So of course, when she grabbed the towel, knife got her here. He ran in. She was still alive. He was trying to save her. He went to put the fire out. The chair flew over and put the knife all the way through. She's dead. So now the four that are left are in the car. The quiet girl, the main guy, Stifler, if you know about American Pie, he's in there, and then the jockey kid. So they're in the car, and he goes, if we're all gonna die anyway, because the kid did a map, and he was checking the seats of how it was gonna happen, so he would know who was gonna be next, but he didn't want to tell them, because then they would freak out. Well, the kid's driving his car, and he's driving it, and then he stops right on the railroad tracks, and he's like, that's it, we're gonna let it take us anyway. So then all of a sudden the train starts coming, so they all get out except for the jock kid that's driving. Now his seatbelt's stuck, but the kid had seen a vision in his head that the seatbelt was going to break. So he went through the window, he jerked the seatbelt, and it snapped, got the kid out, and the train smashed the car into pieces. And Stifler's on the other side of the tracks, and he goes, I've had it with you guys. I'm not hanging out with you guys anymore. Leave me alone. And when he did, another train had come by and hit one of the hubcaps, and the hubcaps came in, went, and then his head just falls off. And it goes from there. I'm not going to tell you the ending or the parts that I missed. You need to see it. It's a little creepy and spooky, but it's not terrifying like some of these. So that is my number 41 of the 100 Days of Halloween. When I get done, I am going to be putting all these squares together and make a little blankie. So I will have 100 squares by the time this is done. All right, I will be back while I'm taping. I will be back to tell you some more and give you another movie. Hugs and puppy kisses. Excuse me. Prayers if you need them, and please remember, adopt, don't shop. There are way too many babies out there that need a home. Bye, guys.